Hey ladies and gentlemen, Casual Chrono here. Must be like high on caffeine or something right now. About to pop a Mountain Dew. Don't blow my speakers. I don't know, just when the inspiration hits, the inspiration hits. I just posted a video on my channel, which is kind of more professional style, maybe, more presentation style, I guess, on how to build a team. And I woke up this morning like 4:30 in the morning and I was like, oh, the inspiration's hit. I really want to do this. So I spent like 3 hours recording the video, then another hour editing and exporting and all that. And I think it turned out pretty well. And I'm already starting to get some good feedback from you all on that video. And as I'm reading a little bit of the feedback, some more ideas hit me. Since it was the first video, my thoughts were a little bit all over the place and it kind of smoothed out. And I had very nearly reconsidered refilming the entire 3-hour video and trying to squish it down to more like, like 45 minutes. And I'm not against doing something like that. I've done it before. But it occurred to me, why don't I do like a Cliff Notes version, like after you attend class, then you have like your cram session with your friends or something like that. So I'm going to try a follow-up video to the main one, which I haven't quite decided on the name. Maybe you all can come up with some catchy names for it, but like Casual Chronos, another Eden Team Building 101, identifying roles and picking characters, cram session, or whatever. It's not quite a summary of my previous video, though I will definitely repeat a few things, but it'll be more like a speed run, because when I teach, I find that when I give example after example after example, that really seems to sink in. And in that 2.5 hour long video, I basically did 2 examples, a fire team and a wind team. So we are going to have a little cram session now using what we learned from the previous video and applying it in this one. So let's go ahead and get started. On the wiki, go to the wiki, awesome resource. We're going to type in tier list. I am going to double check and make sure everything is showing up correctly on OBS. Looks like it. And feel free to give me any feedback. Like I'm as far as I can tell, another Eden wiki, my Chrome screen is as high quality as it gets. It looked a little fuzzy to me when I was watching the main video. My BlueStacks window looked pretty crystal clear. I realized I was using excuse me, a low-res logo, so I found a higher-res logo to use. I'm waiting to see how that exports out. But yeah, I mean, if the window, in the lower right of BlueStacks and my team, if that's too small, I can always think about trying to make it bigger. I was just worried about it covering up some of the words on, the wiki page and everything. So still completely open to feedback. Post your feedback below. But we are going to enter extra sessions now. All right. So in the previous video, so this is the follow-up to identifying roles and choosing characters. So I mentioned in the previous one, if you go to the wiki, type in tier list, you have this wonderful list of every single character in the game. Whee! And you can sort. If you click on types, I can choose fire characters, or I could choose wind characters and fire characters, or just wind characters. So we got crystal, shade, and all that stuff. And it's not just elemental types. I can choose katana users. If I want to choose all slash users, I could select sword, katana, and axe, and this is every slash user in the game if you're wanting to make a slash team. Pause for Mountain Dew. That is not product placement. They don't pay me one thing. I don't get paid at all for these videos, so I just like Mountain Dew. So we are going to use the previous video's content. I'm going to kind of gloss over the details, so if you need a more in-depth explanation, please watch my main video. So we are going to make some teams. We're going to start with the elements. So we did fire in the previous video, but as a brief recap, what we do, we look at the characters and we look particularly at skills. I always start with a tank. So if I click on, does this pop up? It should say inflict, rage, ignore, resistance. I can't tell if it's popping up. I don't have a dual screen. Alright, so if I click on these are basically going to be my potential tanks. A tank character, one of the basics of tanking is you want the enemy to hit you. So you want rage. And there's two choices. There's rage, and then there is rage ignoring resistance, which means when you cast the skill, it will always inflict rage. If I want a definite 100%, getting rage tank, my only 4 fire options are Radius AS, Izuka ES, Particio, and Radius, normal style. If I want to be a little risky and run the chance of rage possibly not landing, I have a few more options, including Minalka and Orlea. The nice thing about tier lists, and you can argue whether or not these tier lists are accurate, people do all the time. The nice thing is it still gives you a general idea of who's good and who's not. If you're near the top of the tier list, chances are you're a decent character. If you're all the way at the bottom, chances are you're never used for much of anything. And right now 50 is the lowest number on the wiki tier list, 99 of course being the highest. So when we choose our fire and rage characters, Minalka AS is ranked the highest, so chances are she's probably a pretty good tank. So we'll throw her in first. Fire, sword.
You're gonna let me do what I want.
There's our
right?
tank. Now we are going to look at damage characters. Actually, I should not leave her up. She's going to talk all the time. There we go. So the question is, who on this list is a primary damage dealer? The way I determine that, in simplest terms, I click on a character, and I scroll down, and under the multiplier section, I look for very high numbers. What is a large number? I've seen numbers as large as like 18,000 before, which is ridiculously high. But in general, you want 4 digits. The higher the better. So like for example, Ewan, with his true manifest unlocked, his lava impact skill can reach, in this case 5 digits, 11,340 in absolutely perfect conditions. He has to be in Vital Flame mode, he attacks again, all that stuff. So when you find a skill with a very high modifier, you want to check and make sure that you can actually use this over and over and over again. It's not like a one-time use and you have to build back and spend like 5 turns to get back to that perfect world. So in his case, we look and we see that it hurts him when he attacks, and it gets stronger the more HP is consumed. It attacks again as long as his hit points don't drop below 50%. But otherwise, it doesn't use up Vital Flame mode. It's not like you click this once and then he loses Vital Flame mode. So that's good. We check to make sure there's no other major modifiers. Shock Flame, not too bad, 2100. No 11,000 though. If a character is Stellar Awakened, we make sure to check their Stellar Awakened skills, and we see this one is 12,500. That's even higher than Lava Impact. However, when you use it, it ends Vital Flame mode, which means you can use it once, and then you're done, and you have to re-enter Vital Flame mode. You can't use it over and over and over and over again in an AF burst, because the first time it'll do great damage. The second time during the AF burst, it'll do little wimpy damage. So Eruption would not be a good skill for him to use. Lava Impact, yes. So he would be what I would consider a damage dealer. Let's just look at the next character. Iffy. Do a quick scan. I don't see... I see a 1350 modifier. That's very low, just barely over 1,000. So, next. Manalka's our tank, so it doesn't really matter. We already have her in the party, but she does do decent damage. She can do 4,000 multipliers. Renri AC. We scroll down. Do we see any large numbers? We see a 3,000. That's not bad. That seems to be the highest she has. And you basically just keep going down the list and kind of looking to see. Lunaria has a 4,000 multiplier. That's pretty good, but that's dependent on how much MP she has. So if she starts an AF burst, or if she fills up her MP during the AF burst, this actually would be a decent skill to spam. If she's low on MP and you don't have a way to recover it, and you start a burst, she's not going to be hitting that 4,000 mark. And none of the others are in the thousands. They're all like 600, 160, 140. So when you're looking for damage dealers, you're looking for high multipliers that can do lots of damage. So of the top few that I looked at, Ewan definitely fit the bill.
What we doing today, boys?
The other two characters are typically some type of support. You might need healing, you might need an MP regen, you might need a way to set a fire zone, you might need a way to buff your team, you might need debuffs on the boss. Most of that can usually be covered. I know I listed a lot of things, but most of that can usually be covered by two characters. So we go back to the tier list, and the way I identify support characters is when I'm scrolling through those multipliers and looking at those numbers, if they're all in like 100s, 400s, like triple digits, low 1000s, and sometimes even 2000s, those don't scream DPS to me. And if they don't have rage, that doesn't scream tank to me, which means the only choice left is support. So Iffy provides support. Keep going down the list. Renri AC, aside from that one attack, a lot of NAs there. They aren't even attack skills, so this screams support to me. Lunaria. Scroll down, 100, 300, 140, 160, 600, 120, 600. At this point, I've already decided she's almost definitely support. I do hit that one that says 4,000. That's nice, but pretty much everything else is screaming support to me. Rosetta. And I'm not going to go through every single character. That would take too long. There's one skill that has a 4,000 mod, but when you read the description, it looks like it needs some time to build up. I don't got time for that. I want to blast thing on turn 1, so. And the rest of the numbers are like 80%, 720, 150. So, support. There's a few characters you do have to kind of decide on. So a lot of characters, depending on certain conditions, may have a skill that acts one way under one condition and a different way in another. And Annabelle Extra Style is one of those. And it will say, when in one mode, extra damage. When in a different mode, reduced incoming damage. So if you're planning on using this character, if you're looking for a damage character, you want to pay attention to whichever mode seems to boost damage. So in this case, when you read her descriptions, it kind of sounds like Guiding Light, whatever this is her damage mode. So then you kind of scroll up and look and learn more about Guiding Light. And it says, when there are 3 or more light characters on the front line, you activate Guiding Light mode, and it stays persistent. She increases her power and intelligence and gets basically damage buffs. So I need 3 or more light characters. Well, if I look at my team, Manalka is Shadow, Ewan is Shadow. So there's no way I could have 3 or more light characters in the front row when 2 are already Shadow. So Annabelle, not a good choice to pair with those 2 for a damage dealer. So now look at Luring Shadow mode. When there's 3 or more shadow characters, you activate Shadow mode. Her hit points double, and she activates cover. Well, that kind of sounds like a tank. And if you scroll down and read the descriptions, when in Luring Shadow mode, reduce damage received on party members. So that is actually her tanking mode. Well, again, we have a tank already. We've chosen Minalka. So do we need a second tank? Usually not. So in this case, Annabelle ES, as awesome as she is, would not be a good fit for the other characters. So we basically just keep going down the tier list and deciding who are support characters. So going from the top of the list, we had Iffy, and we had Renri Alter.
Can you help me with my story?
I don't have any sidekicks, right? Good. So that's our front line, and they all 4 happen to be Shadow. Sometimes that's important, sometimes that's not. But remember, Ewan wants to have at least 3 Shadow characters. Whoops, not under... It's under ability. He wants to be paired with 3 or more Shadow allies in the front line for that Vital Flame mode. Well, we have 4. We're good. If someone gets knocked back, we still have 3. So that's how you form your front line. And then remember that we look at personalities for the back line. And you can do that in-game, or we can do that using the wiki. So his personalities: Glasses, Sweet Tooth, Miner, Hammer, Weapons, Cursed, Fire. Glasses excuse me. Glasses has Agrasta. Fire, of course, has Grasta. Sweet Tooth has Grasta. Miner does not, which tells us we don't need to look for other miners to pair with him. It's not going to help. And Hammer, of course, has Grasta. So Glasses and Sweet Tooth are the 2 personalities that will be harder to find, because there's a ton of Fire users and there's a ton of Hammer users. So I usually start with those 2, Glasses and Sweet Tooth. There's also a little thing right below on the wiki which shows overlapping personalities. Suzette ES overlaps 3 different ways here. Renri also overlaps 3 ways. CL AS, or his virtual reflection is Alter. It's his Alter. CL Alter has 2 overlapping personalities, and if you're not sure, you can always just click on their name, and we can see that CL is a Sweet Tooth and a Hammer user. So you can kind of use these characters as a starting point. So in the game, if you have those characters, where is CL? There he is. There's one. And you only want to choose the characters whom you already have personality Grasta for. When you go to Grasta, choose personality, and start scrolling down. Obviously, if they can use it, it's lit up. If you haven't awakened the Grasta yet, it might not be usable at all, so pay attention to that. It's possible you might have the Grasta and just haven't gotten around to activating it. But in this case, Almighty Power Sweet Tooth. As long as it is orange, usually requires a dormant ore. If you click on details, you see that little P symbol in the brackets. That means it will improve type attacks by 25% for all party members that have Sweet Tooth. So as long as that's equipped by someone, front row, back row, doesn't matter. In this case, CL has it. CL is buffing Ewan by 25% on all fire damage. Why? Because Ewan is also a Sweet Tooth. So the other personality trait was Glasses. If you want to do it in-game, if you choose the filter, let's turn off Hammer, scroll down. There's a personality filter, and you can turn on and off whatever personalities you want. So I have Glasses turned on. This is kind of like a favorites. This is every character in the game that I own that have Glasses. So when I'm trying to choose a character, the next thing I look for, because I have a choice here, I could choose any of these characters. Ewan is a hammer user, so for me it makes sense to pick other glasses users that are hammer users. So Valette, for example, or May are both hammer users and glasses. And more people have May than Valette. So if we go to May, we can equip Almighty Power glasses, and now May is also buffing Ewan by 25%. And then the final thing that we do, we're not going to worry about gear or anything like that. In fact, let's just go ahead and remove gear. My plan is to make gear its own video, so we'll go through a whole explanation of how to choose gear, and then I'll probably have a little cram session on it, on, you know, gearing multiple parties quickly. Let's go ahead and remove this. And remove that. And same thing with skills. I'm going to go through a whole video how you choose when you're limited to 3 skills, which skills to equip. So they are now unequipped. CL and May have Grasta that are equipped to boost Ewan. And we will go to Nagsham and see if the flow of the fight works. Because, yeah, this all sounds good on paper, but will it work? Are we going to run into any problems? And sometimes you can't tell that just from reading skills descriptions in the wiki. So when you're making your final choices, and you're going to learn more when I talk about Grasta if you aren't already aware, Power of Pain Grastas are the best Grastas to equip to damage dealers. So you want someone on your party to have pain. Well, that's when we turn back to the wiki. So here is all of the fire users. And you'll see up here, again under status, here's the pain symbol. These are the characters that can do pain or pain without resistance, so basically guaranteed pain. So one of these characters should appear in your team. And sure enough, Iffy is among them, and we have Iffy on the team already. So we want to make sure that whichever skill, however she provides pain, is equipped. And Rosa Liliac is her skill. It preemptively applies poison and pain to all enemies, which is great. And it does other things, but we'll talk about that later. So we have our pain setter, check. Okay, let me switch off of that before they start talking. The other thing, we just made a fire team. We have to have a fire zone. On the wiki, under gameplay mechanics on the left, is a zones section, and it describes what the zones are and everything. Well, this is a fire team. We're going to open up, and we can see here all the different ways to have a fire zone. Some of them are just a regular fire zone, like Aisha and Flame Serenade. As long as she casts that skill, you have a fire zone. Some of them will say, like, where is one? AZ1. That means if you cast that particular skill or Valor chant, it will awaken the zone, but it will only do it once. And then the bold blue ones are the ones that really need to draw your attention. They are the skills or the Valor chants or the abilities that will awaken the zone multiple times, over and over and over again, without limit. So when I'm choosing characters for my teams, I try to have one of them on the team for sure. Rufus AS, Melissa, Ewan, and Minolka AS, and Sazanka. There are 5 fire characters that can awaken the zone multiple times. Fortunately, Ewan and Minolka AS are both in the party already. So I have a way to have a fire zone over and over and over. So this team checks the boxes. I have pain, I have a fire zone, I have a damage dealer, I have a tank, and I have support characters. And in the reserves, I have reserve characters that share the same personalities as the primary damage dealer.
You're going straight to the enemies.
So there's my fire zone. Typically what I do, and I'll go into way more detail about this in the skills video, but I tend to stick debuffs or pain, things like that, in the third slot. I tend to stick buffs, usually party-wide buffs, in the second slot. And then the first slot is what I spam over and over in an AF burst, because I hate sitting around trying to click like 20 different buttons during an AF burst. Try to make it simple and everything in one spot. A lot of people will do the reverse. They'll be like debuff, buff, and this one is a spammable one, because when you hit the AF burst, I guess there's less distance going to here than going all the way to here, but I've done it for so long, I tried reversing it, didn't work. So anyway, so we're going to debuff, pain, debuff, and the tank should almost always inflict rage on the very first turn, because why bring a tank along if they're not getting hit? So what we're doing right now, we have a team that we think works. We're just kind of seeing if the skills seem to fit, if they complement each other, if there's any weaknesses in this team. Okay, turn 2. Usually the second skill is some type of buff. In Minolka's case, she doesn't have one. Ewan has a power and speed buff. Nocturnal Procession is a buff. And Blaze Up is a buff. And what I'm noticing right now is the health of my team. Look at that. They're almost knocked out. So that is one weakness I'm already noticing in this test run. The second one is the MP. It's starting to go down, it's not going back up. So that's a bit of a concern too. But anyway, we're going to finish up the fight. Mortal Sin, this is the spammable first skill. Attack, 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 and attack. And sometimes the attack skills give additional buffs. That's totally fine. That's like bonus points. Alright, Renri just healed the team back. And then they got hurt again. So now we're going to test out the AF burst on turn 4 and see how that flows. You'll notice that we are no longer in a fire zone. So we're just going to spam our ones. Remember that this team does not have any gear. You saw me unequip them. So this team with no gear is doing quite a number on Baghdadi. They just did 724 million in damage. Completely unequipped. Just simply, they all synergize. The back row characters are supporting the damage dealer. We've gotten our buffs, we've gotten our debuffs. We're tanking. We are now no longer tanking because rage has run out. So turn 5, I'd like to test all of the stellar skills. So I can deploy Fire Stance with both her Overkill and his Eruption. So because he's the main damage dealer and his biggest damage attack is Lava Impact, I might as well just keep using that and let her be the one that deploys Fire Zone. Sometimes if you only have one character that can deploy a zone, you don't have a choice over it. And then she's just going to overload, because why not?
A man's gotta do what a man's gotta do.
And we just destroyed Baghdadi with a team that has no gear whatsoever. But we also identified problems. The team's health was taking a beating, and we didn't really have any good source of mana regen. So we're going to go ahead and restore our team and address those issues. So step 1, assemble a team you think works. Step 2, test it out. And step 3, make adjustments. And that's where we're at right now, step 3.
As long as there's a bed.
And
I
then
don't
step
care.
4, question mark, question mark, question mark. Step 5, win. Alright, so the other thing we noticed, and we're going to go to the wiki for this one. Alright, going back to the wiki. Ewan definitely was pumping out some nice damage, but if you read the lava impact skill with the true manifest unlocked, which mine is, he should be pumping out ridiculous amounts of damage and attacking again until his health drops below 50%. Well, he was taking so much damage during the fight that he was not attacking again. So there are several ways to handle that. You could equip sidekicks that heal. Free one, for example, includes Iridian Green version. You could find some characters that heal, such as Ukwaji. Ukwaji, simply by him being in the back line, he heals the entire party. You can make sure that you have a healer on the team or like a regen going or something like that. This team is lacking that. And then finally, you can equip gear that restores health based on the damage. And the one that I like to use a lot for him is called the Life Changer Bracelet. It'll say is absorb inflicted damage, which means he'll get back a portion of the health that he does. There's also some badges that do that. And lately I've been noticing some Grasta as well. So we're going to give him one piece of armor. That's all we've changed. We've given him one piece of armor. Why do we give him that armor? We looked at the wiki and really looked at how he can do so much damage. So he's in Vital Flame mode, check. He hurts himself when he attacks. We realize this. He will attack again if he stays healed. And it also says requires 13,000 health for maximum damage, which right here says 6,563. He's actually not at that. So what could we do to improve his damage? We could actually give him some Grasta that have like 300 health. So I could just give him an MP Restore Hammer. I could give him a second MP Restore Hammer. And now we are over what the wiki says right here. Oh, we're not quite over. 6,563. One more. See how the wiki helps? Alright, so now we are over the limit that we need to be. All we have equipped is that one absorb armor and 3 Grasta to put him over the HP level that we need him to be at. All we've done.
Pathetic.
Rage. Debuff. Pain. Debuff.
Got you.
You saw that he healed himself a little bit. Now, we don't have to go 3s, 2s, 1s either. I mean, it's a strategy game. So there's really no reason to use Overkill, so I'm going to use Mortal Sin. We're going to do Destruction, because that is still a buff. We're going to buff. And Rinri Altar, Stellar Awakened, automatically casts Blaze Up, so casting it again right now is kind of pointless. So we're going to go ahead and Overload instead. And Renri healed. Attack, 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 and attack. Look at how much he healed all of a sudden. He's at 10,000, now 13,000 health. So, out of the fire zone, he's above 50% health, which means he should at least attack again once. Now we're going to blow the AF gauge and just spam all ones yet again. You'll notice that Ewan is attacking a lot more often now. Remember, he still does not have a weapon equipped. Because he heals himself back, he's at full health, which triggers the act again. And it does it a maximum of 3 times. So you'll see, like, the AF gauge is over and he just kept attacking. And there we go. Bag Batty's destroyed.
Can I get an interview?
And in fact, and you're like, oh, that was a lot of damage. I wonder how much that was. If you have Sin and Steel Chapter 4 progress, you have access to new Nagsham. Now it's not completely comparable because new Nagsham gives you a single turn. So we have to blow the AF gauge and just go to town on Bag Batty. But this is where having the skills lined up works to our advantage. We're going to blow the AF gauge, do the 3s, do the 2s, and then just spam all 1s. Yes, Blaze Up is going to be redundant. Yes, Overkill is not necessary, but for simplicity's sake, it's too hard to piano sometimes when you're rushing. This time we do also have the benefit of the Awakened Fire Zone. So remember, he still does not have a weapon. 3, 3, 3, 3, 2, 2, 2, 2, all 1s. He's healing himself back. So let's see how much damage he did without a weapon. 3 billion in damage. Not million, billion. And that's simply because we had a synergetic team. The 2 characters in the back had a couple of Grasta that were buffing Ewan. We have Tank. We have Pain Setting. We have Ewan with a way to restore his own health. And we have Renri Alter, who's able to buff the whole party. And we reduced some type resistances and so forth. So this represents a very complete team. Proof that he had no weapon and did 3 billion in damage. So that is how we can use the wiki. We read the description. We go, oh, he needs a certain amount of health, or he needs a way to recover health while he's attacking in order to maximize this damage. So that is team synergy. So what we're going to do now, that's kind of a very brief, and I've probably been recording for like, let's see, 39 minutes. That's brief for me. That is a brief recap of the 2.5 hour long video that I made earlier and posted. So now we're going to go into the cram session. We're going to go to the present Nagsham. I would say we're going to form quick teams, but I do like to talk. Alright, let's remove. No sidekicks. Alright, using the wiki. So go to the search, tier list. Scroll down. Let's form an Earth team. So using the wiki, who is a damage dealer? I just start at the top and kind of look. Modifiers, none at all. Nope, she's not damage. Kuchinawa, 900, 1100, 2400, 2400 again. That's an end of turn attack. So those two are okay-ish, not Ewan's 11,000. He's Stellar Awakened. I make sure to double check his Stellar skill. Well, his can go up to 8,000. Does it when in Stellar Burst? That's where the majority of the damage comes from. Well, I'm not Stellar Bursting every single turn, so that's worthless to me. So 2400 is his best mod. Alright, Izuka ACAS, scrolling down. Oh, she has a 3000 starting, 6000 mod. Oh, but it's Shade. Well, that doesn't help me. And so forth and so on. So, Earth is one of my weaker teams, and one of my best mods is Epée de Sanction. If I kept going, oh, it's spinning. It's like, I know I clicked on it. Steal the Show, 48 to 96. Alright. It replaces the basic attack when he is in Born to Play mode. Okay. How do you enter Born to Play? So, when you are researching, when you see one that catches your eye, look to see what the catch is. Then look to see, does that catch last forever? Does it last for one turn? Is it a Stellar Burst type of catch? Because down here, Final Act, he has a 10,000 mod, but it only is strong when he's in Born to Play mode. So that's the approach. So let's go ahead and form an Earth team. Start with tanks. Well, we have 4 choices. Galliard, Bertrand, Terry, and Bertrand AS. The 2 highest ranked ones are Galliard and Bertrand. Check the skills, skim through. Let's see, activates cover for current turn, reduces earth resistance, earth piercing attacks, those are all nice. Rage lasts 1 turn. So it sounds like if he wanted to be a tank, you'd have to keep casting above all basically every other turn. So that's a little tedious. Bertrand. Alright, let's see. He inflicts rage. It lasts for 3 turns. That's nice. His max hit points go up. If his true manifest is unlocked, he gains a counterattack. And his max hit points go up even more. He can inflict pain. He can reduce power and intellect. That reduces incoming damage. So right away, I'm seeing a lot of things I like with Bertrand, not so much with Galliard. So, Bertrand, tank.
Your service.
Damage dealer. As I mentioned, there were not a lot of good choices for my team. For the sake of speed in this video, Shannon. Sword, KMS, Amnesia, Dog Lover, Earth. On the tier list, we can look right here. There's the personalities. KMS has Agrasta, Amnesia has Agrasta, and of course Earth and Sword do. And we can see down here which characters overlap. And Deirdre stands out right away. They're both sword users, and it looks like Earth. So Deirdre Sword, Amnesia, and Earth. Perfect. So we can give her the Amnesia. Go to Filter, Personality, Find almighty power, amnesia. Alright, we need another reserve character for her. We've got amnesia covered, so the only other one is KMS. Alter characters and their normal style characters often overlap personalities. But if you click the KMS button, you can also see all of the KMS users. So if there's a sword KMS user, that might be a good choice as well. In this case, we're just going to go with regular Shannon. She happens to be a sword user and KMS. So they make for good reserve characters. You can look at the wiki and see if they might actually be good. Oh, there we go. As we wait for the internet, we can take a look and see if they would be worth using in the front row as potential actual action characters, but she is a wind user. You don't want that for an earth team. Deirdre, however, is an earth user. Here's her skill kit. Nothing particularly high, so that tells me support. But then I look at the skills. Attack, 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 attack. Improves her power, not anyone else's. One skill that reduces physical resistance. And otherwise, pain. So nothing here is really buffing the whole party, healing, reducing major amounts of resistance to the enemy. We got a 30% physical and looks like a 25% earth. So probably not helpful. On the tier list, you're looking at support characters near the top. Myunfa AC, Kuchinawa. Who do you have? So in my case, I have both of them. So let's go back to earth. So is this a functional team? So let's see what skills everyone has. You can read, of course, the description of the skills here. You know, in Torn Earth Stance, magic resistance of enemies is being reduced. Well, remember, our damage dealer is a physical user. So that part of Kuchinawa's skill really does not help much. Because we're going to be in Earth Stance with an Earth team, so magic resistance only helps Kuchinawa in this case. So we look at other skills. Well, we can restore health. That's not bad. We can inflict poison and pain. Well, we already have that with the tank. There's not much else here that will buff the whole party, that will help physical damage at all. So maybe Kuchinawa's not the best choice. Let's look at Myunfa. Her prayer: to all allies, power and int and speed. Well, Shannon wants power. That's good. We keep looking. She can do poison and pain if we need it. She can deploy Earth Zone if we need it. Let's see. Keep me safe. Can buff the tank if we need that. Please, all weapon users damage. Improves and applies stuff to the user's right. That will improve damage as well. Alright, so far all of these seem to help the whole party. So Myunfa, check. We'll keep her. It said that she wants to apply stuff to the user's right. So our damage dealer should be to the right of Myunfa. So that still leaves an extra slot. So who do we use? We go back to the wiki. I don't have her. Don't have her. We're using her. CLAC is next on the list. We skim through the skills. When on stage, there's a party buff. When on stage, type attacks go up. Critical rate goes up. Weapon break blunt on all enemies. Well, Shannon's a slash user, so that's not screaming perfect synergy. So let's just keep looking. Usually you can kind of skim through. We have Zilva, who's a slash, Id, who's a blunt, Loquito, who's a slash. You can kind of pick and choose a little bit based on their skills. But if we're just kind of reading the room, pain, poison, otherwise no major buffage anywhere for Zilva. Id, as we wait. Attack, attack, when in Roaring Bash stance, well, we're making an Earth team. Attack, attack. I don't see too many party buffs. Not so good. And just to save time, Claude ES is an excellent buffer. Oh, he's probably on his other... Oh, yeah. He's on bow mode right now.
Claude von Kettikel, at your service.
Alright, Claude ES. Earth user. And he has skills. Restores health, restores status. When there's a zone deployed, all allies gain power, as well as intellect and speed. It stacks. Alright, I like that. All enemies, we can reduce their power, and we can buff the team, so tanks will like that. Sword, katana, axe users' damage improves, critical damage increases, and with empathy can be even more. So Shannon's a sword user, so all of these skills sync up. He's helping characters on his own team. Let's remove his gear as well. So now we have, make sure everyone's unequipped. Yep. So now we have an Earth team that we think can be functional. Let's test it out. Remember that we want pain, we want a zone, we want buffs, we want debuffs, we want rage, we want everything. So we are going to deploy a zone. We're going to reduce resistances. We can go ahead and empathy Shannon. And of course the tank is going to want to inflict rage. So at this point we're looking at a few things. Is the team's health staying up to date? Is the mana staying up to date? Are they able to pump out damage and fulfill all the requirements? We're in a zone now. We got rage going. We got pain going. All right, the tank is going to go ahead and start using skill number 2. We'll go ahead and buff up the party. Buff her up. And we'll start praying. And now we have an awakened wind zone to work with. Alright, we're getting heals, we're getting our MP back, so we're keeping our health up. Attack, attack, attack. And she doesn't have an attack skill right now, but please is another buff, and that will affect Shannon. And Shannon just sliced through Bag Batty with 143 million in damage. Mind you, unequipped. No gear whatsoever. So let's blow the AF gauge. Turn number 4. All we're going to do is spam all ones. So what do y'all think? Do we have a functional team? Health is staying up. Mana is staying up. Shannon's able to pump out some good damage. And there goes Bag Batty. $952 million in damage with a team that has no gear equipped whatsoever. Nothing, 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 nothing. The strength is purely team synergy. So imagine what happens when you actually gear the team, but we'll get into that in a different video. Next, let's form Wind. Click on Wind, go to the top of the tier list. Let's check out who can do Rage. Shani Alter, Shiguri ES, Soira AS, Garam AS, and Normal, Hina AS, and Soira. In general, whoever is at the top of the list is who I'm going to go for. So let's say I have Shiguri, whom I do. Actually, you know what? Let's just do Shani since she's on the top of the list. Alright, Wind. She's a hammer user. Shani.
You need me. You really need
And let's
me.
unequip you while I'm thinking about it. Alright, next. Who is a damage dealer? So turn off Rage. In general, look at the top characters on the list. Okay, we all know Sesta is an amazing damage dealer. So we're going to pretend like she doesn't exist and just, for demo purposes, choose someone else. Because it would not be fair to Bag Batty. So, you click on the characters, you scroll through, you look at the mods. Everything here is pretty much less than 1,000. Only one of them is over 1,000. So, nope. Nikoko ES. No attacks, no attacks, no attacks. She can't attack. Well, that's easy enough. She's not a damage dealer. So you go through. Let's just use normal Sesta, since she is near the top of the list, and everyone uses Sesta AS. People seem to forget that Sesta normal style is still amazing. She has Starving Wolf with a 7,000 mod that pierces barriers. So that sounds amazing. Alright, so what's the catch here? It uses a Divine Wolf stack. Or no, this one does not. I was thinking Twin Blade. So Starving Wolf simply does a lot of damage when she is Twin Blade wolfing. When she's not, it's not nearly as strong. Alright, so we check Twin Blade Wolf. Consumes one Divine Wolf stack. And she starts off with, how do you get Divine Wolf stacks? Well, let's check the passive. So, when she's in an Awakened Wind King stance, she gains one Divine Wolf stack. So that tells me, for this particular damage dealer, you want to have an Awakened Wind Zone as much as possible. Now, she herself can awaken a zone, but it only happens once per battle. So, let's go ahead and grab Sesta.
Let's go break something.
Normal style. And get rid of her proof. Alright, so Sesta normal style, we want to be in an awakened wind zone as much as possible. So we open up the zones and we look for the blue AS infinite signs. Cyan Scyther can do it. Subami Alter can do it. Melissa can do it. Suzette can do it. Melody can do it. We got 5 choices. So who do you have? Well, let's go ahead and look at the tier list and see who's highest on the tier list. Oh, Subami is right up there with Sesta, and she was one of the ones that can redeploy an Awakened Zone. So if you have her, let's grab her.
What is the mission?
And make sure she's unequipped. And then for the 4th character, do we have Pain? No. Do we have Tank? Yes. Do we have Zone Setter? Yes. Do we have Damage Dealer? Yes. So we're missing Pain. So let's see who all can do Pain. Let's see, Suzette is pretty high up there, and she can do Pain. Do you have Suzette? Wind. Yes, we do.
Summon forth the darkness.
So there's our base team. Then we check. Do we have the skill that actually puts pain on the enemy? Demonic Thrust? Check. Do we have the skill that awakens the Wind Zone? In her case, it's the Stellar Burst. So, yes. Do we have Sesta? Yes. Do we have the skill that does Rage? And we scroll through. Cling Together inflicts Rage. It's a shade attack. That's a little annoying. So it just so happens if you spend some time on the wiki, let's find, where's my ragers? Under passive skills, battle start rage. When the user is in the front line at the start of the battle, she inflicts rage permanently, lasts the entire fight. Now, there are some gimmick fights that can clear it and stuff, but we have rage. So when we're looking at the team, we don't need to worry about equipping a shade attack for a wind team for rage. It looks like it's automatically going to arrive. So we have our skill set. Reserve characters. We go to personality traits. Sesta, Katana, Wind, and Avenger. So let's check out the wiki. And who all are Avengers? Here is all of the Avengers. Usually you want a Katana user or a Wind user. Well, Kikyo is a Wind user, so that's a good possibility. Water, Earth, Senya, wait for it, is a Katana user, so that's a possibility. Tome is a Katana user. Sukiya is a Katana user. So we have 4 choices. Whichever one of them you want to use is fine. I tend in my videos to use Tome simply because everyone has Tome. And he can equip Almighty Power Avenger. The only other personality traits Sesta had are Katana and Wind. So your second character would almost definitely be another Katana user or a Wind user. Remember that in this party, since all of them are Wind, they can all hold Wind Grasta as well. So let's check out how this team fares and see if there's any weaknesses. Alright, there were 4 Wind users, so we start off in an awakened Wind Zone. So she already has Rage on the enemy, so we can just go straight to buffing. So we will go ahead and do Malediction. We could just go ahead and Twin Blade Wolf right now, because you only get 1 Divine Wolf stack. We can Winds of War, and notice in the description it says user and single party member in frontline slot to the user's right, and we have Sesta to the right. And then remember we need Pain. So if you don't automatically stick Pain on the enemy, your Pain person needs to use Pain for their first skill. Alright. Winds of War has buffed Sesta.
These are the cries of the voiceless.
20 million per hit. And something that I'm noticing right now, Shani Alter and Suzette have this little thorn love thing going. Well, that's nice and all, but what's going on there? So we'll figure that out in a moment. Skill 2, we can Twin Blade Wolf again. buff. And at this point, there's nothing else to buff or debuff, so we can just Dragon Assault.
Listen. These are the cries of the voiceless.
Alright, Cesta did 43 million per hit. And you notice that Suzette did 20 million per hit. That's looking kind of nice. Alright. Toadstreeb reduces wind resistance, and it stacks. So we'll Toadstreeb once, Twin Blade, Injaku, which improves all weapon type damage, and we'll just keep Dragon Assaulting. Suzette's doing a decent amount of damage on her own.
These are the cries of the voiceless.
That Suzette might have done more than Cesta. Alright, but let's take a look for a second. It looks like Suzette and Shani are taking some damage. The other two are not. Mana-wise, Tsubame is a little low on mana, so is Shani. But otherwise, the damage output has been great. Remember, they do not have weapons equipped. So let's go ahead and blow an AF burst and just see how that feels right now. We're going to just do all ones. Alright. Bag Baddie has been defeated. That's why the numbers have gone down. All of his buffs, well, all of his debuffs and pain have all been removed. You'll notice that there's no more debuffs on him, so all the modifiers and everything, the damage output isn't as high.
It's me and you against the world!
Alright, so there's a few things we might want to tweak. Health of the team was going down. MP of the team was going down. None of them are healers. That's where sidekicks can come in. And there's a free sidekick, Iridian. Mine is still 4 stars. His 5th star just came out a couple days ago. But at the end of every turn, Iridian restores health and MP. And best of all, upon taking wind damage, power and intellect get reduced. So when they attack the enemy's power and intellect are permanently reduced. Of course, flip side, allies have the same issue. If the enemy does a wind damage to my team, then I will also have a power int reduction. So including Iridian should fix one of the problems. The other one, what was the deal with that thorn thing? So you can look through here, or we can go ahead and go to Shani's page. Alright, so we scroll down. Stack Thorn Wedge on ally to the user's right. Okay, well, in this lineup, to the right, remember reserves don't count, if you're all the way on the left, to the right, circles around and is applied to the person on the far left. So that's kind of interesting. Well, what does it do? It applies overcrit. Thorn Wedge improves stats. And at turn end, it causes some damage to the characters. So Dream Love sounds like it's a huge damage boost. So maybe we want Cesta to get it instead of Suzette. Now, Tsubame, remember, her skills apply to the member's right as well. So it's kind of a choice. Do you want Shani's buff or do you want Tsubame's buff? Because in this situation, you can't have both on the same character. So maybe that's why Suzette was doing so much damage.
The pits of my stomach with you.
So we made 2 tweaks. We changed the order, and we added someone to compensate for the healing.
Sure, we can fight in the light.
Buff, pain, buff, and Twin Blade. And remember that Tsubami's buffs are now being applied to Suzette.
Listen. These are the cries of the voiceless.
Those orange numbers are the overcrit. And look at that, Sesta on the first turn, without the rest of the party buffs, just did close to 100 million in damage. Suzette on her first turn did about 20 million per hit for a total of about 40 million damage. Next turn, we'll just go ahead and Fated Love and do Dragon Assault, Fierce Feline, and continue with the Twin Blade.
Listen. These are the cries of the voiceless.
Alright, she did another 100 million plus hit. And Suzette is still doing decent damage herself. She just did 276 millions. Bag Batty's already at half health. He might not make it to the AF burst. Because now, we're going to start reducing wind resistance. And buffing the whole party's damage.
Listen. These are the cries of the voiceless.
158, 7, so Sesta just did 200 million. And Suzette finished the job.
The Symphony of Souls has ended.
How's the party's health and mana? Health and mana are looking a lot better, thanks to Iridian. So this is a pretty functional team, and the order seems to work a little better with Sesta over here. And we don't even have a second reserve character, and we just knocked out Bag Batty with 4 characters that, once again, have no gear. Oh. I take that back. That would be why Suzette was doing so much damage. Alright. For proof, then. That means we'll probably be able to AF burst, which will work out.
Who wants a bite?
Alright, so note to self, double check gear. Alright. Malediction, Pain, Winds of War, and Twin Blade. That should only affect Suzette's damage, not Sesta's.
These are the cries of the voiceless.
Alright, 34, 34, and 6, so that's 68, 75-ish million. Turn 2. Fated Love, Dragon Assault, Buff, Twin Blade.
Listen. These are the cries of the voiceless.
36, 36, and 6. 11 million, 11 million. So even without gear, Suzette is still just did 22 million in damage. Alright, turn 3. Start reducing wind resistance, buffing all weapon type damage, and Twin Blade, of course.
Take this.
Listen. These are the cries of the voiceless.
There was 400 million plus. Suzette following up with 40 million. You can see that Bag Batty is almost defeated. And that's with 1 stack of Toadstreeb's wind resistance. Toadstreeb stacks 3 times. So we're going to blow the AF gauge and finish up Bag Batty. The end result is still the same. And this is without using Twin Blade in the AF burst. Alright, and you'll see Bag Batty's debuffs are gone. And the characters are still doing massive amounts of damage.
Take this.
58 million, 20-something million, and I couldn't catch the last one fast enough. So, unequipped, just a Starving Wolf attack, not even Twin Blade. Sesta was doing in millions upon millions of
Should
damage.
I treat your wounds? Done it!
So this team still may have a bit of a mana problem. That could always be something that's addressed through Grasta and other means, but overall, functional team. We have tank, we have damage dealer, we have support characters who can also redeploy awakened zones over and over again. We have a source of pain, and we have reserves that are buffing the main damage dealer. And then placement order matters. So be sure to read the skill descriptions to see where in the lineup they should appear. So that would be a wind team example. Next, let's head back to the wiki and form a water team. Alright, tanks. We're going to start speeding this up and kind of going through. I'm going to gloss over skills and just kind of show the general method, because I want to try and get through the other types. Might do some of the weapon types, we'll see. So, water, tanks. Here are our choices. Hismena, Stellar Awakened, is the highest rated tank, tied with Dunrith Altar. Well, I got both of them. Let's just grab one of the Dunriths. So, water, staff. Alright, tank, check. Okay, now we need damage dealer. Well, Verdanta is the only 99. Let's see what she is good at. Looking for high mods. I see 2400, 21 to 42, 48 to 9000. What's the catch? It attacks. It still attacks, and when the user's hit points are above 50, performs another attack. So I don't see anything here that would be like a one-time thing. So blue ice flare and 9000 mod, yeah, that's pretty much screaming damage dealer to me. So sword, Verdanta. All right.
Fine. I'll show you how tough we are.
We have our tank, we have our damage dealer. We need support characters. Back to the wiki. Melina Stellar Awakened is high up. Elseal is high up. Felmina is high up. Mazrika, whom I don't have, is high up. And a few others. So, just going down the list, we'll grab Elseal. Remove gear. Less fail this time. And for our fourth, let's take a look. Felmina is a damage dealer. Jill Funny, whom I have but not Stellar Awakened. NA, 1300, 1500, 1680, 3969. Kind of was giving me some damage dealer vibes, but then I see things like max hit points go up, gives shield. In Sacred Water Stance, that's good. Alright. Does she give any other buffs? Power, int, and speed of the user. That doesn't help. Alright, what about her spammable high skill looking thing? Okay, restores health, critical rate improves, stacks elemental break water. I guess that's nice, but I'm not seeing too much in the way of like power buffs, int buffs, not that Verdanta wants that, reduction of resistances, so Myris ES. Well, that's a high modifier. Oh, that's a high modifier. That's kind of screaming damage dealer maybe. And I see like deploy Sea of Stars. Well, I'm making a water team. That doesn't help. So, moving on. Mighty. Alright. Low mods mostly. This one's pretty high. Type resistance decreases. Okay. That's not bad, but intelligence and speed of the user doesn't help the rest of the team. Alright, so I don't see much else. Improving fire resistance is not typically helpful. A little reduction of water resistance. Power and intellect of all enemies decreases. We could, let's see, win 2 or more staff characters. We get that, don't care. And 2 or more water characters. Alright, so there's a few things here that might help. Aqua Ruin reduces physical resistance. Aqua Wall beefs up the party if necessary. Aqua Spread reduces water resistance. And Nightmare Gift reduces type resistance. So Nightmare Gift, Aqua Spread, and Aqua Ruin all could help Verdanta. So why don't we go ahead and try out Mighty. And make sure those skills are equipped. Nightmare Gift, Aqua Spread, and Aqua Ruin. Alright, let's remove gear. Alright, so we have a potential lineup. Verdanta, we check her personalities. Spicy Lover, Avenger, and Outlaw all have an almighty power. So, let's see what we got. Spicy Lover. Here are my choices. She is a sword and water user. Sword user. And Sayuka, what is she? Wind, apparently. We could just filter like this. Alright. So the only overlap here, Shiguri is also a sword user. So if we go to Grasta, personality, and we find Spicy Lover. He is now buffing Verdanta. So we have Spicy Lover covered. So that just leaves Outlaw and Avenger. And we could just use the wiki. Outlaws. Here's my choices. And Spicy Lover, or sorry, Avenger. Here are my choices. Do any overlap. So Amy, Kikyo, Leclerc, Lokido, Senya, Sesta, Tome, Tsukiev, and Winefika. Outlaw. Do I see any of them on the list? Leclerc Alter, I don't think was one of the Avengers. Leclerc, another style was. So, unfortunately, it just looks like there's no complete overlap. Outlaw and Avenger. Nope. So we have to choose one or the other. Because none of those characters are in the main party either. So let's just go ahead and grab Tome again for Avenger. And let's see, he's Katana. Oh. There we go. And he still has All My Power Avenger. So there you go. Choosing the characters based on roles. 2 back row support, tank, damage dealer, support characters. Do we have a zone? Yes, and El Seal can also deploy a zone with Hagel Kuze. Dunnereth Altar happens to have a zone deployed when the battle starts. Do we have Pain? Types, water, and Pain. Ah, Mighty can apply Pain. Dunnereth Altar AC can. And obviously a few other characters can as well. But since Mighty is in the group, let's check and see which skill inflicts pain. So you kind of skim through, or you use the wiki. Alright. And I am actually not seeing it. Alright. It looks like his stellar skill. He inflicts pain at the start of the fight for 3 turns, but since it's for 3 turns, that means it's going to go away. So Mighty might not be the best choice in a long-term fight. But let's see how this team functions. How's our MP? And let's see how our AF gauge is. Because if it gets to turn 4, I definitely want to see how the AF gauge flows as well.
Now, who to send my whispers of love?
Oh, that means it's been more than an hour. It's going to be another long video, folks. That's okay. This is fun. And maybe this is helping y'all too. Alright. So, no one equipped with anything. Now do keep in mind... Oh, we left Iridian in. Oh well. Now keep in mind that Verdanta is just naturally insanely powerful, so... Alright, turn 1. Reduce physical resistance. Will improve water type attacks. In her case, we'll go ahead and self-buff. And tanks always rage. Alright, turn 2. We'll protect the team with a shield. She'll start attacking with that Ice Flare attack that had that high modifier. We'll go ahead and buff. And we will reduce water resistance. Alright, Verdanta just nearly destroyed the test dummy. Alright, so I'm pretty sure y'all know what's going to happen on turn 3. We're going to attack and reduce more water resistance. She's just going to continue to attack. We're going to attack and reduce slash resistance, and we will restore health using this attack. And Nightmare Gift. He will reduce type resistance and magic resistance, and he will self-buff himself. Not that Verdanta needs it. So this is a functional team. Let's go ahead and get rid of Iridian before I forget. El Seal had a way to restore health. Probably the only thing that might be a problem over time is MP values. But if you throw in Iridian or someone, you know, that's not too bad either. So, functional team. And once again, we destroyed Bag Batty and no one was equipped with anything. Alright. So hopefully you all are starting to see the pattern. Choose an element, choose a tank, choose a damage dealer, build around the damage dealer. Alright, let's do it again. So, tier list. Types. Thunder. Who is a tank? Rage. Oh, we got one choice. And no Thunder user that can inflict rage without. So Orlea AS is our tank. Alright, developers, while she's good, you all might want to provide us with a few options one of these days. Alright, tank, check. Damage dealer. Well, start at the top of the list, look at modifiers. Skim through, 1400, 3800, that's not bad. Be sure to check Stellar Awakenings. Oh look, 8000, that's high. Alright, so Izuna, damage dealer. Xion. Alright, so 100, 700, these are all kind of low. Alright. While he probably could be built as a damage dealer, I'm not seeing any reason to. He looks like he is support. Valette. AS. Hundreds, 1100, nothing higher, support. And so forth. So, we found Izuna on a list.
Did you bring a lunch?
Let's go ahead and make sure both of them are unequipped. We have our tank, check. We have damage dealer, check. Next, do we have a way to set pain? Xion can, Valette can, Premia AC can, Miyu can. Alright. Well, I do not have Xion Stellar Awakened. Is that necessary for pain? Scroll through. I don't see the little pain icon here. Passive skills. Battle start, pain. Permanent, ignores resistance. So we do have a way to set pain. If it ever gets dispelled, we don't have a way to reapply it. Alright, so he is a possibility. We go to Valette, look for the pain icon. Oh look, Dilatrio Scarpello, however it's pronounced, inflicts pain. It is permanent and ignores resistances, but that way if it gets dispelled, I can put it on again. So let's grab Valette AS,
Hunting for treasure.
and let's make sure that that skill is on there. Alright, so we have Pain Setter, we have Damage Dealer, we have Tank. We need someone who can deploy a Thunder Zone. Who can? Utpalaka can do it. And reawaken multiple times. So can Gunts. So can Melissa. Alright, well, because we have Valette, we have a Gunts. So, charge skill. When Valette Dream Digger is in the front line, he can redeploy an awakened Thunder Zone. Dream Digger, check. And do we still have a way to set pain? Yes, we do. Alright, so we're good there. We have pain, we have Thunder Zone, redeployment, we have tank, damage dealer. So the only thing left is to find a fourth Thunder user. So here's our choices. And you all might have a few extra. I don't. So at this point, which character is a support character? And we can turn to the wiki. And we can go through the list and decide who supports who. So it's kind of sort of whatever. So let's go ahead and throw in, let's do Utpalaka. Right, he can provide a shield to the party. He can reduce enemies' power. He can reduce slash resistance. That doesn't really help Izuna much. He can beef up sword, katana, axe users. That does not help a magic user. So maybe Utpalaka is not a good choice. So, well, magic users. Can Kamlanaj do much of anything? He can reduce thunder resistance. That will be nice. He can slow the enemy down. He can give a damage barrier. He gives himself mental focus. He gives himself a buff. So he's kind of a selfish character, not really helping the rest of the party. So we can keep looking through and see if we can find anyone else. That would be a fourth choice. Miyu inflicts pain. Thunder type resistance decreases. That will help. Her power and everything goes up. That doesn't really help anyone else. What about Tithy? She can reduce type resistance. She can reduce physical resistance. Doesn't really help us. Alright, type attack improves. That can help. And when she sings, that will help. Improves intellect. So, and her stellar skill improves type attack. So I kind of like all of that. So why don't we leave Tithy in the party? Her spammable will be the type attack because it does 5 moves. So it'd be nice to refresh that a lot. Roaring Rhapsody reduces type resistance. And Peacock improves type attack. So we don't have to activate singing. Alright, equipment. Remove all that. Double check everyone's gear. Nope. Alright. Tithy is unequipped. Valette is unequipped. Izuna is unequipped. And Orlea is unequipped. Alright, we have our lineup. We have our pain. We have our zone. We have a way to redeploy the zone. We have our tank. We have our damage dealer. Alright. Izuna. Abilities. Let's go ahead and go to her. Her biggest attack was Thundercrack. Are there any special things we need to know about it? She attacks once and enters hyperfocus mode. When she's in hyperfocus mode, it gets a lot stronger. And when she's not in another force, it gets a lot stronger. But the big one is hyperfocus mode, so she has to attack once with it. She enters hyperfocus mode, which means the second attack with it will be much, much stronger. And you can see the details on hyperfocus mode. Alright, so how long does hyperfocus mode end? It ends when she is attacked. So we just basically want to make sure she doesn't get attacked, which during a stellar burst, or an AF burst, is not going to happen. Alright, so that all looks good. Let's check about personalities. She's Eastern, Mask, Estrangement, which does not have Agrasta, and Amnesia. Of those three, Amnesia is probably the rarest, so we can use the wiki and look to see if there's any other overlapping personalities. So are any Eastern or Mask users on the Amnesia list? So if you're not sure, you can always just click on people. Is Raven either Eastern or Mask? Yes, he is. Amnesia and Mask. And a staff user to boot. So let's grab Raven. Personality. All Krasta personality. There's Mask. Personality. Amnesia. Alright, so he is buffing Izuna. So we go back to the wiki. So we have Amnesia and Mask covered. So we just need someone who's Eastern, preferably either a Thunder or a Staff user. That's not too hard to find. Let's go ahead and Staff. Thunder, Eastern. Do we have anyone? Nope. So, do we have any Thunder Eastern? Obero and Xion. Staff Eastern. Shanghua, Yuna, Myunfa, Xion. Alright, so we'll just grab one of them.
Me? Are you sure?
And give them the Eastern personality, Eastern Grasta. Almighty Power Eastern. Alright, and then the rest of them can be filled up with like Staff Grasta and things like that. Again, focus for another video. The only reason we're equipping any Grasta, remember, is to show how the personality traits must sync up with Azuna. So here we go. Nothing equipped, nothing equipped, nothing equipped, nothing equipped. Just 3 personality Grasta to match the damage dealer. We have tank, we have damage dealer, pain source, support, and a way to redeploy the zone. Alright, turn 1, we want Rage, buff, deploy Thunder Zone, and we can remove type resistance. There's our Thunder Zone. And it's now awakened. Turn 2, buff, 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 and buff.
Little scamp!
Alright. You notice we also have a heal and MP regen. And if we check, our MP is used up some, but I think that's more because one of the buffs improved the maximum amount of MP. It's not like we used it up. Alright, turn 3. Attack, 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 and attack. And Valette's attack will also put down pain on the enemy.
Punch on this!
There's the first Thundercrack. Doesn't look very impressive. Fourth turn, we'll try an AF burst. We need to redeploy Thunder Zone, so that means we need to work in 1 Thundering Stance, the Paleos Verante skill. So we're just going to spam 1, 3, 1, 1, and then all ones. 1, 3, 1, 1. All ones. Remember that the second Thundercrack onward, according to the description, is doing massive damage. And if we were out of the AF burst, it would actually be doing even more. We just wouldn't be able to do like 5 or 6 in one turn. So there we go, another Bag Baddie down. Poor Bag Baddie. But again, it seems like we have a usable team here. Now with all these teams, I'm not saying that this is the best Thunder team in the world. It's not. But is it functional? Yes. Will it let you kill things? Most likely. Will it let you kill everything? No. No group lets you kill everything. Or else everyone would get those 6 characters and we'd never want to pull anyone else ever again. And we finished the battle with full health and almost full mana. So there you go. Another Bag Baddie down. A team that synergizes well. Provides pain. Has a damage dealer. Has a tank. And we were able to get all of the personality traits in. So there is a functional Thunder team. Whoops. Alright, tier list time. Shade. Alright, so we need a tank. Rage. We have 4 choices. Shani Alter, Clughorn, Varys, or Azuka ES. It just so happens I don't have Clughorn or Varys. So I have 2 choices for tanking. We're going to go ahead and grab Shani Alter. We're already a little familiar with her because of the Wind team.
You need me. You really need me?
Because she's Shade this time around, we should go ahead and equip her with a Shade attack. And otherwise just leave her alone. So she is ungeared with a Shade attack. So we need a damage dealer. So this is where you start looking at modifiers and looking at the characters who I have access to. Like, I don't have Clughorn. He would have been very helpful. I don't have Azuka ACAS. I have Yakumo, but he's a little weird. I mean, besides obvious reasons. He does have very high modifiers. So, toxicity can go up to 3960. But it only gets that high when there's a bunch of enemies around. So against a single boss, not so strong. And none of the other modifiers are really that powerful. Disorder is probably the most powerful at 2300, and it ignores target defense. However, it consumes mana very quickly. And it consumes that mana even in another force. But he can attack again up to 3 times. So we'll go ahead and try him as the damage dealer. And I will caution people, I have not used Yakumo normal style that much.
You know it's my day off.
I'm pretty sure I'm not going to use him completely correctly. We don't need that. So I might be doing this wrong. But we're going to go ahead and use deletion as his spammable skill. Alright. We need a Shade Zone and we need Pain. So Man Opener does apply Pain, but if we use the tier list, there's a higher tier person named Iffy, who we know already from Fire, can provide us with both the Shade Zone and the Pain. So if Iffy has Walpurgis Knot, that provides Shade Zone, and Rosa Liliac provides Pain. So we'll use Iffy. So she also buffs, and she does debuff a little bit. And then we need one more Shade character to help buff out the party. So who do we want? Well, initial thoughts, we look at the tier list. Don't have. Kagurame is next. Does she have group buffs? Blunt attack, self-regen. Nothing's looking. She can reduce a little power and intellect, but she's not really doing anything to help Shade attacks. Thalila Lily. She improves her own power of user, Shade attacks, speed, and physical resistance. That's not really helping Yakumo. Okay, let's see. Nope, none of these are really helping Yakumo. Tuva. Let's see, modifiers are low, so she is most likely a support character. Let's see what's down here. Link. Link Shade attack again. Protects the team. Okay, that's alright. She can improve critical rate and magical critical rate. That would help Yakumo a little bit. Gives herself a shield. Power and an intellect of all allies improved by 50%. Any weapon characters improved by 50%. Alright. Yakumo likes intellect, so abyssal prowess makes sense. Improves type resistance and max HP. Okay. So a lot of these are kind of suggesting support. So let's find Tuva ES. Now, does it matter what order? Let's make sure Tuva doesn't have anything equipped. Alright, nothing equipped, nothing equipped, nothing equipped, and nothing equipped. And no sidekicks. Alright, so there's the Shade team. So we want to build around Yakumo. We've decided he is the damage dealer. Staff and Shade, there's a bunch of Grasta for that. Worry about it later. KMS and Estrangement. So let's go to Yakumo. Does Estrangement even have a Grasta? No. So the only shareable Grasta he can benefit from is KMS. So which characters here are also maybe Shade characters or also staff characters? Cuervo is staff. Nonald is staff. Shanghua is staff. So any of those could work. So we'll just grab staff, and is KMS a choice here? No, I must have taken it off. Everyone has a Nonald. Let's find Nonald.
Well, you don't have to beg for my help.
And personality. All right, do we only have one? Yes, we only have one. For your second reserve character, you would most likely have some Shade character or some staff character. If we use the filter, Harl, free character, might fit the bill for that. So let's just pretend that she's holding additional Grasta. Alright, so here is our completely unequipped team. Let's see if it's functional.
Happy birthday to you.
Right away, we remember that Shani cast that Thorn Wedge thing on a character to her right. So we should have our damage dealer all the way over here. So that is one change that we can make. We're going to reduce Shade resistance. We're going to go ahead and deploy a Shade Zone. And we'll go ahead and start praying. Turn 2, Faded Love, Karma. We'll go ahead and set down Pain and improve party's power.
Does it hurt?
Alright, turn 3. We will attack. We will attack. We will buff. And we will inflict Elemental Shade Break and improve crit rating. Alright, 48 million, 30 million, 49 million, 24 million, 23 million, 23 million. That was a lot of hits. It used up a lot of his mana though. Alright, let's see how he reacts in an AF burst. So, some things I'm noticing. His mana regen is kind of nice, in part because of him, but also because of the prayer. She is providing him mana as well. So that's a good thing. So we'll go ahead and test out all ones. We notice that Yakumo's mana is pretty much out. And it's he's not doing too much damage in the AF burst either.
Does it hurt?
But we still did 247 million, and remember, that's unequipped as well. Alright, final turn. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. Attack, 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 attack. Alright, he attacked twice this time before he ran out of mana. So we did 571 million damage, completely unequipped. Alright, so we know that Shani and her Fated Love will buff whoever's there. We should put him right there. And let's go ahead and eat some food.
You like that?
In his case, if you have Yakumo 5-starred, you have Kumos. Normal style. And the auto skill will reduce speed, will reduce type resistance for shade, restores party's MP. So let's have Kumos, let's let him join the party and see if that simple inclusion plus the rearrangement of positions matters. Alright. We'll go ahead and do all of the 3s, and in her case, put down Shade Zone.
Get fired!
Turn 2. Fated Love, Abyssal Prowess, Pain, and Karma. Alright, turn 3. Kind of do a check here. Everyone's health is good. Everyone's MP is good. Alright, Kumos, along with the prayer, are doing great. So we will attack, attack, buff, and do the first deletion and see how that goes. 33 million. Again. 3, 4, 5. 5 rounds of that. Alright, turn 4. We still have Shade Zone, we still have Prayer going. Mana levels are very good. His isn't completely filled, but it's pretty high. The others are still at max, so having Kumos around is definitely helping. We're going to blow the AF gauge and just see how that goes. All ones. Right. Yakumo is out of mana, so his attacks are not too high. And for anyone that has used Yakumo a lot, I'm not really quite sure what the best skill for him to spam in an AF burst is because of this mana drain.
Gather shadows for
So
the
that might be
Veiled
something that
Crawl out
you all
from
can
secret
inform me
abyss.
about.
Raise the ritual blade,
Because I never pulled him
call
for
upon the light.
years. I never used him when he was like the popular trendy choice, so I never studied any of his strategies. I just sat around and was very sad that I did not have him and everyone else seemed to.
Into the dead of night.
And then once I got him, I already had Shanghua, who's, I think, pretty superior in all regards. Alright, so that burst 550 million in damage. Again, remember, no one has gear. And we are no longer praying, so we need to redo that in order to refill our health. But otherwise, we'll just go ahead and finish up this fight.
Disappear!
I don't know if there's any MP absorb gear out there. When you attack, you get back some of your MP. But if you ever did, look at that, 922 million. Ungeared team. If there was any type of MP absorbed gear, giving it to Yakumo would be probably a really good decision, much like Ewan and his HP absorbed gear. So, we have Pain, we have a tank, we have prayers, we have a damage dealer. We just pulled off nearly $1 billion in damage. We have reserves that are buffing Yakumo, and there was an issue with health, and in Yakumo's case, MP. Kumos, if you equip Kumos with something that restores health, because there are a few items like the healing jewel, that might compensate in that area. And of course, you're not spam attacking every single turn usually, so there will be times where Tuva's prayer will help heal the team. So, there we go. That is a very quick assembly of a Shade team. Alright, time to move on to the final elemental type. We will go back to the tier list. And it's time to look at Crystal. And as always, we start off with, ladies and gentlemen, Rage. Who can rage? No Crystal user in the game right now can apply an irresistible rage. The only two that can apply rage are Alma AS and Starkey. Starkey is rated 91, Alma 99. Who are we going to use? Alma, if you have access to her.
Needs an expert alchemist.
And let's go ahead and unequip her. So there is our tank. Damage dealer. Now this is where sometimes when I record videos I would spin off. Alma can serve as a damage dealer. She counterattacks and she's invincible literally for a few turns at a time. So since she takes all of the hits, if the party gets hit with an AE attack that hits each character twice, Alma takes all those hits. And that means she would counterattack 8 times. So if you gear her for damage, she can actually be a huge damage dealer. But let's pretend for a minute that that option does not exist, and let's just stick with the pattern that we've been doing for all the characters, because there's always gimmicks for several types. So we look at the characters near the top. The Little Lily. A lot of NAs, low numbers, 2,400. Okay. Stellar Awakened. 10,500. Wow. Hits 4 times. That's great. Ends sword wielding savior mode. We can't spam it in a burst. So, beautiful, beautiful mod, but not practical. Her best spammable is Photon Messiah at 2,400. And it's based on number of luring shadow allies. So if 2 are light and 2 are shadow, then her modifier would only be 800. So we'll keep her in mind, but 2,400, not super high. Alright, Jill Funny. Look at her numbers, 500, 13, 1,500, 16. Now here's one, 3969, kind of high. And it increases at max HP. Well, we got a tank taking all the damage, so she should be at max HP. Restores people. Alright. So that one's a possibility. But she deploys Water Zone. And this is a water attack. So... so close. Why is she showing up in crystal? Oh, she has one little dinky 1300 crystal attack. So you get all excited, you're like, yes, I found someone, and then you realize that the attacks are a wrong type. Alright, we'll go on to Nilia. 700, 4,800, 5,400, wait, 12,000? Those are incredible modifiers. When the enemy is weak. When the enemy is weak. Alright, so as long as she's hitting an enemy weak to either crystal or blunt, or whatever weakness you Kaleido into, that's an advanced thing, she has ridiculously high modifiers, so she is definitely a damage dealer. Oh look, she can deploy Crystal Zone as well. Okay, well let's go ahead and pick her to be the damage dealer.
Who am I tagging with?
So let's see. When we look at her stellar skill, because all of this depends on her being able to attack a weak point. Well, if we don't have a weak point, like Bag Batty does not have a weak point, can we create one? Well, we keep looking. We check out stellar skills. When used during a stellar burst, creates an exposed blunt for 1 turn on an enemy. So if we burst Moonsault Meteor, we can create a weakness. And even though it says 1 turn, it kind of sort of is true, kind of sort of is not. When you cast Moonsault Meteor in a burst, it affects the current turn, and then it lasts around for 1 additional turn. So if you do Stellar Burst first, and then use your turn attacking, you have the benefit of the exposure, and then it's still around the very next turn, because it lasts 1 complete turn. So you kind of sort of have 2-ish turns if you're able to burst at the start of a turn. Alright, so it's a nice modifier as well, but the modifier for a Beast Kick Special is higher. So, when we're choosing her skills, let's go ahead and make a Beast Kick Special, the spammable one, and we need to include her Moonsault Meteor somewhere so we can create that weakness. So the last option, do we have Drive Lariat, which applies the singular focus and all that? Do we do Horizon Chop, which buffs the party up? So for right now, let's go ahead and do it this way. And gear, let's remove everything. So we are going to attempt to build around Nilia. So we got 2 unequipped crystal users. So we need some support. So we click on this, we click on crystal. These are the crystal users I have access to. Your mileage may vary. So we turn back to the wiki, and we just kind of keep looking. So who do we have that can be a support character? I don't have him. Nina is next. I do have her.
Me?
Go back.
Seriously?
Thalilily, I do have her, and she did have a bunch of nice looking buffs. Just nothing spammable for a major damage dealer. So when we take a look at this team, okay, unequipped, 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 and unequipped. Alright, it just so happens shadow user, shadow user, shadow user, and shadow user. We have a full shadow team right now. So let's find out who can help Nilia. She is obviously a fist user and crystal user. Do any other personality traits have Grasta? nicknamer does. So who are some additional nicknamers? Here's the list. Are any of them fist or crystal? Lovely is hammer, I believe. Actually, she might be fist. Oh, she is fist. Well, you know. Well, let's just grab her. So fist, and she's fire. I wonder if I have the nicknamer Grasta. Guess we'll find out. I do. Alright, so we have Almighty Power Nicknamer. And according to the wiki, that was pretty much the only other thing besides Crystal and Fist Grasta that's available out there. There's no Dog Lover, no Forager, no MMA. So, that is the team. For your second reserve character, you'd probably want somebody who can hold Crystal-related Grasta, or more Fist-related Grasta, Blunt-related Grasta, stuff like that. So, we have a team. We have a way to deploy a crystal zone. Do we have pain is the next step. So we look back at the wiki. Here are our pain setters. Nina has pain. The Lily has pain. We got pain double covered. So we got both of them in the group. And what skills does she have equipped? Alright. So, we think we have everything. Let's test it out.
Lily will lead the charge.
Alright. We apply Rage on the first turn always. Any self buffs that she has, we'll cast. Okay. We can go ahead and apply Pain and reduce power and all that stuff. We can affect survivability. We can just simply attack. So let's go ahead and in this case start attacking. The crystal attack stacks 3 times. Because Photon Messiah also applies pain. So we will have pain in several ways. The Little Lily also can apply power, speed, singular focus, and mental focus to all allies. And for shadow allies, it lasts 6 turns. So that's a great buff. Alright, turn 2. We can go ahead and kaleidoscope Nilia. We'll go ahead and just start attacking, because that's pretty much all she can do. We can go ahead and reduce power, we can inflict pain, whatever. And we can Apostle, which for multi-hits improves damage, and for all shadow allies improves weapon damage.
Wide open.
Turn 3. Luster Glare, attack. We've done Burst Seams. We've done 1 Dreamlike Stitch, so we might as well do Inspiration. And now we can go ahead and Photon Messiah. So, we have an issue now. Remember that in order for Nilia to do a lot of damage, we need to create a weakness. Well, we now have a burst. Moonsalt Meteor should inflict exposed on all enemies for 1 turn, so this turn plus the next one. The others, we'll go ahead and kaleidoscope with everyone. We can Dreamlike Stitch, and in her case, we can just kind of cast whatever. So we can rebuff, whatever we want to do. Let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and improve max MP.
Have a taste of unknown alien
And right when you think the Crystal team wasn't going to do much damage compared to the others, Nilia comes down and slams Bag Batty for about 700 million in damage. And guess what? That exposed is still there. Time to burst. There you go. Bag Batty defeated. So, is this a functional team? Nilia is providing massive amounts of damage when the exposed is up. We have a tremendous buffer with the Lily. We have a way to redeploy awakened crystal zones over and over again because that's what Nina can do. And we have a literally invincible tank for a portion of the time and a decent tank the rest of the time in Alma. So we just used the wiki to assemble a crystal team. And I realized when I was talking, I didn't cover it. Zones. Do we have a zone setter? We have several. Nina can reawaken a crystal zone over and over and over again, and she can destroy existing zones as well. So that's tremendous benefit. And then Melissa is the other crystal zone setter. So if you have Melissa Stellar awakened, she can awaken the zone over and over and over again. I had Melissa on my team for a very long time. So there you go. You just saw a completely ungeared crystal team take out Bag Batty as well. And the support characters we built around Nilia, the DPS. We found reserve characters that share the same personality traits for the shared personality Grasta. No sidekicks. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe instead of a Cliff Notes version, because I think this video might even be longer than the first one, maybe we can call this like the lab practical, because we're actually applying what we're learning. So, team building, summary. Go to the wiki. Type in tier list. Go to said tier list. Pick what type of team you want to do. If you want to create a crystal team, choose crystal. If you want a slash team, choose slash users. Pierce team would be piercing units, and so forth. Once you have chosen your type, then you look for a tank. And if you go to status, there are your tanking options. So, for crystal, you have 2 tanks, for example. So choose your tank, throw them into the party. Hi, tank.
Need an expert alchemist, do you?
Turn that off. Go through and figure out who you believe would be a good damage dealer. Look for high modifiers. High damage dealer.
Who am I tagging with?
Then you look for support. Make sure that you have someone who can set pain. Technically, I didn't mention it, but poison and pain, in a sense, are the same modifiers. Poison damage is influenced by intellect. Pain damage is influenced by power. So if a magic user applies poison, the little damage at the end of each turn is higher. If a physical user applies pain, same thing. But there's way, way, way more people that do pain than poisons. But technically, poison and poison grass and all that work too. All right, so make sure that your party has support characters that can apply pain. And to do that, you can check and see who has irresistible pain. Hi, Thalilily. Who also has
Lily, are you?
a tremendous amount of buffs and debuffs and ways to deploy zones. So we check our zone list. Preferably people that can awaken the zone multiple times. So Nina can. Melissa can. Hi, Nina.
Me?
And that is your foundation for your team. Then you choose reserve characters based on your damage dealers' personality traits. So up here, look for anything that has a little Grasta symbol. So in this case, nicknamer. Use either the in-game personality filter. Oops. Find your personality trait. So nicknamer in this case. These are all of the characters that could potentially be a reserve character. If you're not sure who to choose, the next obvious point is your main damage dealer is a fist user. Look for other fist users. Or your main damage dealer is a crystal user. Look for other crystal users. So that could be a reserve character. Or that could be a reserve character. Or they both could. One of them, equip them with the shareable Almighty Power personality Grasta. And then you can go to town with the rest of them. Lovely could have Fist Grasta, and Mistrari could have Crystal related Grasta, for example. But that is how you choose your main party. That is how you choose your reserves. And then you do a test battle or two, or just use the party for a little while, and you say to yourself, how's my health doing? How's my MP doing? Am I struggling in any area? And that's where sidekicks can come in. If you're having issues with health, maybe grab Iridian, or better yet, if you have Tetra, excellent healer. If you're having mana issues, maybe Kumos can step in and help out. If you equip Kumos with a healing jewel, you restore health along with mana. But we'll get into sidekicks for another video. But that is the general foundation. Choose your tank. Choose your damage dealer. Find support characters that sync up with what you need. Find reserve characters that improve your damage dealer. And there you go. Those were 7 different ways to form parties. And I really hope this format helps you with me being able to use the wiki and show you what I'm seeing while I'm talking about it. And maybe I will call this the lab practical, because we are applying what we're learning in class in a test situation. So anyway, I hope this type of video helps you and helps you kind of look at who you have access to and how you can basically bring out the best in them. So, Casual Crono, signing out.